everybody. So it is now just almost like 2:40 on Monday, April 1st. So I have just gotten out of work. I'm heading home, and so I'm not quite ready to start my April TBR as of yet because I'm in the middle of still a lot of books from March that I have to finish. One of which I am in the last chapter of. Another book I'm like 90% of the way through. Another book I'm 80% of the way through. And then there's like a couple where I'm like not quite halfway through. So I'll at least be able to get something done today, which will be nice. But what I'm currently working on that I started reading earlier today was my Witcher book for March. I'm almost done with that, which is Blood of Elves. And then I'm working on Okay Cupid by Mason Deaver, which I'm almost done with. I've got like maybe a couple chapters left of that. Then I'm like 87% of the way through God Killer by Hannah Kaner, which is Brandy's book club pick for March. And then I'm also in the middle of You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylynn Bayron and Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, which both of those I'm kind of like almost 50% of the way through. But I'm just getting out of work. I'm gonna head home, let the dogs out. I gotta clean up the house a little bit. And so I have tutoring then at 5:30. So I have to be there for an hour and a half starting this week because we're adding on math to his like tutoring curriculum. And so basically that means I'm there for like an extra half hour, which I actually like. I am happy with that because the last couple weeks we've tested out, okay, whether or not an hour and a half was going to be enough time or if it was better to do an hour during the week and then on Saturdays do 2 hours. But 2 hours was way too much time. There was not enough really for me to do with him in that 2 hours. So I was like having to scramble around for stuff to do basically. But an hour and a half was like perfect. Half an hour for reading, half an hour for spelling, half an hour for math, and he was able to stay focused. We did little brain breaks in between, which was really helpful for him. So it ended up actually working out really, really well. So happy with that, but that does mean that I don't have as much time to read as I would like because I'm not going to get home till closer to like 7:30-ish. And then I still have to come home, make dinner, and all kinds of stuff. That's basically it for right now. I don't, like I said, have anything yet for Orillium that I can work on, but once I get one or multiple of those books done, depending on how much I can get done tonight, I'll be able to at least get started with my Orillium TBR, which I'm very excited for. And then next week we're going to have a vlog that's going to be for Orillium and for Battle of the Bookish, because next Monday starts the Battle of the Bookish training camp for this round, for the upcoming round of Battle of the Bookish in June. So if you don't know, it's a readathon that I host with my friends. We do a month-long readathon in January and in June of every year, and we do the training camps, which are like a week-long version of those, and they have like different kinds of aspects competition-wise to help you bump up your team in the big rounds. Those happen in April and October, so we usually try to do that, like do the 2 month-long ones, longer periods of time between each other, but then break up about 3 months in between with the week-long readathon, just to kind of keep people interested, but give people a bit of a break too from the month-long ones. So anyway, so that is, I think, basically it for right now. That's everything I at least wanted to go over. I don't know what exactly I'm going to pick up first when I get done with either The Witcher or OK Cupid or anything like that. It will probably take me less time to finish OK Cupid because the last chapter of The Witcher that I am on in Blood of Elves, it's like 90 some pages almost, or it's like 70 pages, something like that. It's a long chapter. So it's gonna take me some time to get through that, and I probably will not finish that before I leave for tutoring. It'll probably be something I finish when I get back from tutoring. But I'm also gonna be working on the other audiobooks that I have, you know, as I'm driving to tutoring and back and all that jazz. So anyway, I will just talk to you guys later when I've made some progress in some of my books.
Good morning, guys. It is now Tuesday. It is about 8:20 in the morning. I'm at work today. It's gonna be a pretty easy, quiet day for the most part. I'm in a testing room for students with like IEPs who need like extra testing time, or a separate testing room, essentially. And technically I was supposed to be in here yesterday, but they moved me to do something else instead. So today now I'm doing this. So I'm basically sitting here for most of the day. The kids that are going to come in for testing don't come in for another like almost hour or so, because they are currently in their first period, and then they have like a study hall period. So I'm just basically waiting for a second period to come around, when I'm going to have, I think, 2 kids come here, and then I have 1 person 4th period, and then 2 people 5th period. And after 4th period is when I will take my lunch, or at least after the kiddo that's going to be coming down here is going to, after they're done with their test kind of thing, that's when I'll likely take my lunch. Last night I did end up finishing Blood of Elves by Andrzej Sapkowski. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Really liked this, I think, especially since this is the first time I've read the actual first book in the Witcher series. Really enjoyed, I think, the most with this, the fact that everything in the prequels, like, it was really good that I read the prequels, basically, because there's so much to do about Ciri specifically in this book, and the importance of her in this world, that it's almost, I would say, even possibly a requirement to read the prequel books, or at least not The Last Wish, but the other one. Why can't I remember what it's called? I can see the cover in my head, but I can't think of what the name of it is. I'll put it here. But I would say read this one most importantly. If you're going to start The Witcher, read this one first. The Last Wish is like one of those things where, like, you could probably read it. It will give you a lot of context about Geralt as a person and some of the other characters and his relationships with them. But this one is definitely like a must read to understand Ciri as a character, and understand the connection between her and Geralt, and how that plays into the first book. So definitely recommend that. I have the live show for that this coming weekend, which I'm excited about, and I will be talking about both the second prequel book and the first book, Blood of Elves, in that live show. So by the time this video goes out, that'll have already happened, so go check out the live show for that. But now I have still 4 other books I'm in the middle of that were from March, one of which I have 1 chapter left, another of which I have a couple chapters left, and then a third one I'm about halfway through. The 4th one I'm about 40-ish% of the way through. With finishing Blood of Elves, I do get to start my April TBR, which is great. So the first one I'm going to work on is The Daughters of Izdihar by Hadeer Elsbai. I don't know much about this other than it involves a set of sisters basically in this Egyptian-inspired world, and that's basically all I know. Like, there's obviously some kind of powerful people, or at the very least, like, they're the ones that are going on this journey, whatever it is. So I hope that this one's going to be good, because the last Egyptian-inspired book that I read, which was The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem, it was not as good as I wanted it to be. I didn't really get the feeling of it being from Egypt, and I could have just missed something within the writing that was, pointing to that. But there were a lot of people in Brandy's book club that we all read this together that also said they did not feel the Egyptian inspiration. They actually felt it was more Middle Eastern, like Pakistan kind of vibes. I know that at the very least that made it hard for me to enjoy the story, because I was so focused on finding the Egyptian aspects that I just kind of didn't care about the rest of the story. I liked the concept of it, of like princess that had to go into hiding and has to hide their identity and do everything they can to hide their identity, gets found out by her enemy, having to go into his service and things like that. I liked that concept a lot. But I didn't really like the romance that was going on within the story. I felt like it was completely unnecessary. I didn't really feel it. It was supposed to be kind of this enemies to lovers kind of thing, but I didn't feel like it was that great. Like, I've read some really good enemies to lovers books. This was not one of them. So That one I had given a 3 stars, so I am hoping that the Daughters of Izdihar is going to be a lot better, especially because the sequel just recently came out, and I would really like to be able to pick up the sequel if I can. And again, it's Egyptian inspired. I would like to be able to like it because of the Egyptian inspiration. My favorite types of stories is like deserts, Egypt, anything to do with that. Like, I'm in. Like, I want to read it. Which is kind of surprising that I haven't read Dune as of yet, I think, because that's like completely desert. But I have heard that book is really hard to get into. I'm going to go and I'm going to keep reading. It's going to be a pretty quiet day.
Wow, hi. It's been a minute. I am currently watching Allie from Hard Book Hoarder, I think, stream on Twitch. Have been pretty much all day since I got home because, yeah. I mean, I got home, I did a bunch of my work, then at around like 6 or something, Allie went on Twitch. So anyway, I think the last time I updated you guys, I had just finished Blood of Elves. So I finished quite a bit since then. I ended up finishing, OK Cupid by Maas and Deaver. Gave that 4 out of 5 stars. Didn't enjoy it as much as I loved I Wish You All the Best, but was still a really solid book. I just didn't like the ending. Like, the last chapter was kind of silly to me. I don't know, just something about it didn't work for me. Then I also finished You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylynn Bayron. Gave that 4 stars. That one was fun, but I felt like a couple of the twists were completely out of right field. I just felt like it wasn't 100% what I had wanted out of it, but it was still really good and still a very kind of like Friday the 13th kind of vibe. If you're a fan of those movies, like, it's definitely got those vibes. So then, as far as the rest of the books I'm working on, I started ACOTAR. I am about 170 some pages into that. That is a book club read for the book club that my mom, my sister, and I are a part of. And it is, I don't think, counting for anything else for right now. But there's that. I am now, let's see, 323 pages into Golden Sun. So I'm like 100 and some pages from the end of that, which I'm happy with. I did end up starting the Daughters of Izdihar. This is one of my Wheel of D20 books. And this so far is pretty good. This one is about essentially these 2 women. I thought it was going to be about sisters, but I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. This is about 2 different women. There is Nahal, who is a young woman who wants to basically be a soldier. She wants to join this group called the Daughters of Izdihar, which are a kind of female battalion within this world, and they are a revolutionary group of sorts as well. Like, they're very much a part of like a women's suffragette of some kind, because of the fact that they are fighting for women's rights. They're fighting for women to be in the battlefield, things like that. And Nahal wants to be a part of that, but she is supposed to get married off to this man, and she makes a deal with him that if he will, because neither of them want to get married to each other, if he will sign off on her becoming a soldier and being enrolled in this school to become a soldier, basically like a military academy, then he can have like a concubine, which this person that he would want to be a concubine is our other main character named Georgina. Now, Georgina is kind of a more lower income person. Nahal is part of a royal noble family that the reason she's marrying off to somebody is for monetary purposes, basically. But Georgina comes from a low income family, and she is secretly a part of the Daughters of Izdihar. She joined up with a couple of girls, or she met a couple of girls that were involved in it when this thing happened to her that she needed to have them take care of. And so she joined the Daughters of Izdihar, and essentially it's the story of like how the resistance is moving in this world, while also then being involved with this really noble man that is now married to this other person, Nahal. And now we just reached the point where the 2 of them have met, and I think there's going to be some kind of joining of forces. I would assume so, with the fact that these are our 2 main characters and they're supposed to meet up. I am on page 109 6 of that. So far so good, really enjoying that one. I also then started Starling House, which I am also in the middle of. This is the book club book from last month, but our discussion of this got pushed back, so we're given basically an extra month. I am currently on chapter 11 of this. I am on page 89. This is going okay. I'm not a huge fan of this. I think that there's something about like Gothic haunted houses and super flowery, like what feels like 18th century writing or 19th century writing that just doesn't jive with me. I'm not like hating this per se, but it's very, very slow, I guess is what's going on. It feels like how I felt Wuthering Heights was, and I really disliked Wuthering Heights. So I don't know. I don't want to discount Alix's writing like completely as of yet, because this might be completely a style choice for the style of this book and what the idea of it going for it was going to be. But what I can tell you is that this is following a young woman who gets hired by this very mysterious kind of Boo Radley-esque character that lives in this place called Starling House. And Starling House has a lot of mystery surrounding around it in terms of the owners, things that have happened there, and the fact that basically nobody knows if anyone really lives there anymore. So the main character, which I don't even remember her name, honestly, Opal. I don't know why it just popped into my head there. Opal gets hired as a maid, and she very quickly like starts stealing things from this place because she's looking to make some extra cash. And she's approached by several different people about being in part of Starling House, namely one group of people who like work for some really rich person who's extremely invested in Starling House for whatever reason, and its history. And so they're kind of like, the chapter I just listened to, they kind of have offered her this thing of like, if she either, you know, gets photos or videos or, you know, takes anything else from the house and sells it to them, like she can make a lot of money doing this. And, you know, she's being asked to basically uncover some secrets about Starling House, and she's kind of waffling with whether or not she wants to do that. That is the most I can really say. That's pretty much everything I've caught on at this point, because like I said, it's a little slow and a little hard to get involved in. But then the last book I'm on is Blood Scion by Deborah Falaye. This is another what is it called? Wheel of D20 book. This is one of my Wheel of D20 books for the month, and this is so far really, really heavy. Like, it's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's very heavy. And this is the book I'm going to start on our next sprint that Allie does, if she does one, because right now she's in the middle of doing some stuff with Baldur's Gate. But I'm currently on page 81. I'm on chapter 9, and what I can say about this is it follows a main character who is part of essentially this world where there is a lot of war going on, and there's a lot of stuff that is being done specifically to children, and it's very much inspired by the things that happen right now to children that are in war-torn countries, especially countries where the rebel gangs or whatever steal away children. They kidnap them and force them to become parts of their armies. This main character has some magical powers basically that are really make her really valuable in this world, and she hides that from everybody. And she is just trying to live in this world, as this is as far as I understand. She has to live in this world basically to, you know, she has to survive, to protect her family and all these things. And I think somebody finds out about what she is. I think. I don't know. I read this last night. I was really tired, so I only caught some of it, but I know once I get back into this, I'm going to really like it. I just haven't, like, I've only been listening to the audiobook and keeping track in the physical book, so I haven't, like, been fully present with it, but quite honestly, I do like it. I liked it from the very first page, despite how heavy it is. This has got to be like kind of more on that grim, dark kind of fantasy side. But I think that there are also some sci-fi elements in it, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's how it was pitched to me by Brandy and Bree, but I could be wrong. So yeah, those are all the books I'm working on right now. The closest one I am getting to finishing is Golden Sun, because like I said, I have like about 100 and some pages left of that. I had a very long day at work, a very good day overall. Like, it was a solid day. I was in a 3rd grade class, and the last time I was there a few months ago for a particular student were hell. They were awful to their teacher, but today they for some reason were in a way better mood. We had some issues here and there, don't get me wrong. Had like a couple kids that tried to start a fight with each other, had, you know, a lot of like drama happening, which for 9-year-olds, like, what do you expect there to be drama about? Stupid, petty stuff like telling somebody to shut up kind of thing. It was dumb, but there was one kid in particular. This kid, the first time I was there, was blurting. He was super obnoxious. He would not stop talking to everybody, and he would give an attitude when you would get after him about not doing what he was supposed to. This kid today was an angel. Like, he kept coming up to me and asking me how I was doing. He kept saying please and thank you and you're welcome and excuse me. And like, he actually did his work. He was doing it with the other parapro that was in the room, which was great. And he was actually like a genuinely good child today. Like, he was the sweetest kid in the world. And this is a kid where apparently, like, he struggled over the year with his behavior. And so today he was able to call his mom to tell her that he was having like a perfect day. And just the smile that went on this kid's face when he was talking to his mom, it just made my heart melt. Like, those are the kinds of kids that make me so excited to become a special ed teacher. Even if I won't be able to work with kids like him in particular necessarily, just being able to like see a kid like that having the best day of his life and having such a good time at school and enjoying what he's doing, like, that just makes my heart so happy. Like, I rode on that high all day, truthfully. Like, he was fantastic. But yeah, so I'm just tired though from the day, and I just want to curl up and go to sleep, which I probably will here actually soon. I want to get through some of Blood Scion, but after that I think I'm gonna go to bed, and I'm gonna hang out with my mom tomorrow, and I have tutoring tomorrow, and basically at this point I'm just waiting for Robert to get home too, because Robert went to a Detroit Red Wings game with his boss, so just waiting for him to get home and relax, and I'm just gonna, like I said, get through some of Blood Scion and then probably crash and go to sleep. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow with you know, how things are going. I forgot to end this video yesterday, but yeah, I got through like 2 more chapters of Blood Scion basically, and yesterday I read a little bit, but I forgot to end the video when I was supposed to. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this first vlog for the Orillium April 2024 round. I will be vlogging next week. Next week is gonna though be Orillium with Battle of the Bookish, because we're doing the Battle of the Bookish training camp this coming week. So very excited for that. Basically anything that I read, start and finish in the week of Battle of the Bookish, will basically be for points, and it'll be for page points as well as whatever creature I'm able to capture for our creature capture event for training camp. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys are reading, what you guys are doing, you know, how you're doing in general. But otherwise, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that button down below, subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys.